What is going on, everybody? I am so happy to say that we are going to be fully operational this September. That is our plan. The governor is about to announce the what he has in mind for September, and stay tuned for that. But I believe it's just going to be wearing masks. And while we don't enjoy wearing the masks, or having our kids wear the masks or following these protocols, if that's what it takes to get us back in person with our kids at 100%, that's what we'll do, right? So just stay tuned. If anything changes, I will reach out to you and let you know that. But as of right now, we are enrolling kids for the program. We are staffing our programs up, and we are ready to roll for the 2021-2022 school year. For those of you who are with us for the 2020-21 school year, last year was a tough year, but thank you so much for all the work that you put into it. Everything logistically was kind of a nightmare for the first few months. It was rough, but you guys made it happen. You followed protocols. You were safe with the kids. Communicative with the parents, and thank you so much. You did an awesome job. With that said, we need to move forward with our annual orientation. There is an orientation, an older one on the website on www.bgcwo.org. I'm going to be replacing that with this one, and that's where you will also find your annual training. Supervisors, you need 20 hours of training, and our youth development professionals, our program counselors, you need at least 14 hours of training, and I'll be sending out information as the year continues. So let's go ahead with our annual orientation. So let's sit back, relax, go grab your coffee because I've got mine. Go grab some snacks, and let's just go over some things. And hey, and for those of you who are new with us at the West Orange Community House Boys and Girls Club, welcome to the program. Welcome to the organization. We are happy to have you, and let's go ahead and move forward. All right, let me share my screen with you. Okay, hopefully you can see this. And let's present the slideshow. All right, so the reason for our program success is you. Again, these last few years have been awesome. You guys have really rocked the program out, and without you, we wouldn't have this program. So I want to thank you for just being a part of our program and being a part of our success. Our mission is to provide a safe place for kids to grow, learn, and have fun. And just overall, my expectations, the expectations of the organization: show up on time. Please keep your cell phones away at all times. If you have an emergency and you need to use it, just let the supervisor know. If you need to take an important phone call, just communicate that with the supervisor, or if you have a staff member working with you in the room, just communicate with them. And the last thing that we want to happen is for parents to walk into the program and see one of our staff members on their phone. While it might be an emergency to you, they're going to automatically think that you're on there browsing the internet or on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social platform you guys use. Be actively involved with your kids and scan the program often. What do I mean by scanning the program? I mean literally like looking around the program often, and you want to listen and look for any potential problems. Have a positive and caring attitude. Respect and follow your supervisor's decisions and directions, and dress appropriately and act professionally. We have staff lanyards. If you do not have one, I will have one for you. I'll get one for you. All right, program common courtesies. Respect and encourage each other. Respect our kids and kindly greet all parents and visitors that you may encounter. Especially if you guys are outside and you see parents walking by, you might want to say, "Hey, how are you? How you doing?" Just to acknowledge them, acknowledge that they are there, and just be kind to them. Also, for safety reasons, if something looks kind of bizarre, if there's an adult walking around the program, or if you're, let's say, in the playground and you see an adult walking out, maybe they're there to pick up their child, or maybe it could be something else. You just may want to acknowledge, "Hey, how are you? How you doing?" just so they know that you know that they are there. All right. Pull parents aside privately when speaking to them about sensitive issues. When parents come to pick up their child and you need to tell them something, just make sure there aren't parents within earshot who can hear that, especially if it's like a private issue or sensitive issue. Take initiative to help keep the program clean and organized. This I can't stress enough, because when parents come in to pick up their kids and they see an absolute mess, we definitely hear about it. And when the principal comes in or when a teacher comes in and sees a mess, we hear about it, right? So we want to definitely take an initiative to keep the program organized and keep it clean. If there are wrappers on the floor, if there's arts and craft supplies on the floor or Legos on the floor or things on the table that need to be straightened up, tidied up, let's just go ahead and do that. It just makes our program look that much more organized and that much better. Interaction with members. Remind children often of the rules and the expectations. Before you start a game, before you start an activity, just go over what you expect of them and what the rules are. Provide positive direction. Never yell at a child out of anger. That's the worst thing that could happen, is when you get emotionally angry and start yelling at a child. It shows that you are out of control. So if you happen to get angry or emotional with a child, get another staff member immediately or get the site supervisor and deal with it together. Got it? Use positive discipline techniques, communicate with children calmly, and establish the consequences with follow through. If you set the consequences, if they break the rules, let's follow through with those consequences. Never be alone with any one child. For liability reasons, for safety reasons, just make sure there's another staff member around or there are other children around, or at least one other child when you're in a room, but never be alone with one child. Please be encouraging and provide words of praise often to the kids, but hey, it wouldn't hurt to even be encouraging to other staff members, right? Hey, you're doing a good job with those kids. Good, I appreciate the job that you're doing. Especially with our newcomers to the organization, to the program, they don't always know what they're doing right, and many times they don't know what they're doing wrong. Training besides the training that they're getting, you may want to just reinforce their positive interactions with the children. Appropriate physical contact. There should be little to no touching between you and the kids, period, right? We know that. What's permitted, fist bumps, high fives, and shoulder pats. What's not permitted, and it should be self-explanatory, but if you're new with us, maybe you're not sure if these are permitted or not. Holding a member's hand, picking up a child for any reason, intimate hugging or touching, or sitting on laps, right? And that's happened in the past because some of our new staff members, they're young and they just don't know. Even if you're related to the child, please don't do any of these, because it looks inappropriate to those who don't know you, right? So if they don't know you and you have your child in the program and they're on your lap, it just doesn't look appropriate to a parent walking into the program. And please respect every child's personal space. When you're tending to an injury, it's okay, but make sure another staff member is present. Avoiding injuries. All right, we do want to practice this often. Safety first. All right, be aware of what you're planning to do or where your kids are playing games. For instance, I held a football years ago. I had the kids playing football on the concrete at Gregory School, concrete surface. Not a big deal, except they were playing touch football, which I didn't think was a big deal, and usually it's not. But one of the kids pushed the other kid too hard, and kid wound up on the floor with an abrasion on his knee. But just be aware. Sometimes you don't think about things like that. Be alert and monitor your groups and anticipate any issues. Report any dangerous or child behavior to the site supervisor. So you do want to communicate these things to the supervisor. You're all going to have walkie-talkies, or each area will have a walkie-talkie. you do want to, be communicative with the site supervisor and with other staff members. For instance, if you know a child is kind of being hyperactive during the day and you're sending them off to another area in the program, you may want to walkie-talkie ahead or communicate ahead. Hey, by the way, such and such is having a hyper day. Just look out for them. Just be communicative. And review the site's emergency plans. Fire drills, evacuations, and lockdowns. Your site supervisor will have all that information. Non-serious injuries, scrapes, bumps, bruises, bee stings, etc. Ice packs and first aid kits are available in our cabinets for those newcomers to our program who may not know. Record the injury on an injury report, supervisors. Make sure that the parents are informed if there's an injury and it's reported on the log. Any injury on the neck or head needs to be reported to the parents immediately. And EpiPens. If you have a child in the program and you know that they're allergic, they have allergies, and they require an EpiPen, supervisors, make sure that you talk to the parents so they can provide you with an EpiPen for your program. All right, and I will be providing a list of the children who have allergies. Serious injuries, contact the supervisor immediately if one of your children are seriously hurt. Call 911 if necessary, and then the parent needs to be contacted. The site supervisor will most likely call 911. If the site supervisor is not there, a staff member will have to call 911. A counselor needs to stay with the injured and accompany them to the hospital. So if the ambulance comes, a staff member needs to accompany them. That will most likely be the program supervisor. And this program supervisor will appoint an interim supervisor for the day. And then please contact me, the program director. In a medical emergency plan, assess the situation. Is the victim breathing, conscious, bleeding severely, or are they moving, in pain? If it's severe, a staff member needs to take control. Tell the victim everything's going to be fine, reassure the victim, and then direct other children away from the victim. Get them out of the way, get them out of the area so you can tend to the victim. And then report all injuries to the site supervisor. And then accident reports, you'll have to write one of those up, which are found in our site logs. If the situation requires more extensive treatment, perform steps that you are trained in and no more. You do not want to hurt the victim or intensify the situation with engaging in a treatment that you're not trained in. Bullying and child abuse. At all times, please be alert to harassment, intimidation, and bullying. This type of behavior can be physical or emotional, so stay alert and report these behaviors to the supervisor or to me. If any member mentions to you that they're being bullied, harassed, or abused, please report that immediately. Let's make a note of this. Any visual markings on the member that you feel could possibly be abuse must be reported to the supervisors. What does that even mean? Any markings. Multiple bruises, multiple abrasions, burn marks, multiple scrapes, things like that you feel if they look abnormal, just report it to your supervisor and then call me and let me know, and I can make a note of that too. In my experience of doing this I think this is my 15th year doing this, it's always best to have to make notes of things or keep a record of things and have a paper trail of things that have happened in the program. So you can always reference and go back and say, oh no, I did reference this, or I did talk to the parent about this. But supervisors, you might want to keep a little log, just to jot down some notes of the day, of anything that you might be concerned about, or anything a staff member is concerned about. You may want to just jot that down in your log. Expectations of the youth development professionals, and that's you, program counselors. You are our youth development professionals. If you're going to be absent or late, please call or text your supervisor and also copy me or the program director if I'm not your program director. It's important that we are all on the same page if you're going to be absent or late, so we have adequate supervision or adequate staff for the day. Staff, please keep your phones away during program hours. I have asked some staff, often I've asked staff members to keep their phones on so I can communicate with them. So I have no problem with your phones being on, but just make sure they're in your pockets and you're not out looking at them or checking Facebook or Instagram. Or as soon as your eyes come off the kids, it just becomes, you become a liability to us. If you're looking at your phone or browsing on the internet, it's like, it's all appearance, right? So if you're on your cell phone and a cop sees you on your cell phone, like looking at your cell phone in your hand, in your car, right? You're driving in your car with your cell phone, they're going to pull you over and they're going to give you a ticket. And they don't know what you're looking at. You could have been dealing with an emergency on your phone, but the fact is, it's how it looks, right? So we don't want parents to walk in and see you guys on your phones. And whether it's an emergency or not, it's just how it looks to that parent. And when we are in charge and responsible for their children. So just be communicative once again with your supervisor and with other staff members, and excuse yourself if you need to take a phone call. If by chance, now I have to be careful with this, but if by chance you are seeing something that I am not, if you see staff members who are on their phones, that's something that's a liability to our program, and it needs to be reported to the supervisor and me. So if there is a staff member who is seriously engaged in their Facebook and their feeds and watching videos, that's a problem. Grazing down on a phone every once in a while is not an issue, and it has not been. But I need to know, and that issue has to be resolved. All right. Because that staff member now has become a liability. Has that happened in the past? Yes. So many years ago, we did have some issues with some staff members, and it was addressed, and the problem was resolved. So be engaged and interactive with our kids. Now, if you're engaged and interactive with our kids, then it would be, it not only does it look great with our parents and with your supervisor, but your kids are going to be thrilled that you are engaged and playing with them and interactive with them. And I see that a lot. If you see a mess in your area, please clean it. If it's a big mess, stop your activity and ask the kids to help clean it, right? Legos all over the floor, arts and crafts stuff all over the floor, a mess all over the table. Just take 2 minutes. All right, kids, stop. We're going to, take the next 15 seconds and I'm going to count down 15 to 0. And when we get down to 0, I want to see all the Legos cleaned up off the floor. They love stuff like that, right? So just be creative with how you do it. Be firm but kind. If a child is causing you to feel angry, which we talked about this before, communicate that to your supervisor. A child disrespecting a counselor should never be tolerated. And let me repeat that. A child disrespecting a counselor should never be tolerated. If they are disrespectful to you, tell the supervisor, call me, let's deal with it immediately. All right. I do not want to that cannot get out of hand. Keep track of your children in the group. As soon as the children enter your group, count them. I know that you all don't have specified groups, but when you're in an area, let's say you're on the playground or you are running an arts and crafts activity or board games, and the kids come into your area, we need to know how many kids you have. So you need to count. So yeah, keep track of your kids, get to know the names of each child, and make sure that they know that you care. Engage in conversations with them, right? Report unusual behavior, including foul language or violence, immediately to me. A staff member who witnessed the behavior will need to document the incident, and we'll have the form for that in the site log, right? Then the supervisor will have that form. If the behavior doesn't get modified, if it doesn't modify after using our positive guidance and discipline, and 3 reports are documented, we can remove that child from the program. I mean, we can remove the child from the program at any point, but that is our policy at this point. If the child is a danger to themselves or a danger to others, or an immediate danger to themselves or others, we can remove them immediately from the program, which we have done before. Encourage every child and smile often. Big smiles. These kids have been through a lot the last year and a half or so, and I know you have too. But put a smile on your face and talk to them and encourage them often. And let's have a great year. If you have any questions, just text me or email me. I'm here when you need me. If you need me to cover for you at any point, if you need supplies or materials, text me and let me know. I will say this: don't wait until your supplies run out to contact me. You may want to check your supplies often and weekly and let me know when you're running low on something. And that way I can order it for you and you'll have it before those supplies run out. So let's have an awesome year. And I look forward to seeing you all in September. All right. Be well.